everybody, it's me, Candace. It's been a long time since I've had a video. I've had quite a few things happening in my life. I had to go make an emergency visit to my grandfather because his health isn't doing good, so I've kind of been out most of February. But I'm back and I'm doing a cooking video. I've decided to share like how I make Chinese food. A lot of times my husband and I, we like to go to Panda Express and we like to get their cashew chicken. And their cashew chicken usually has chicken, cashews, carrots, and zucchini. Well, I like that because it has vegetables in it, but I like to make mine with more vegetables, and I like to make mine at home from scratch. So stick with me and I'll show you how to make it. First of all, I don't know if you can see the stove behind me. I've got a pot back there, and in my pot I have rice. I have 1 cup of rice, and I've added 2 cups of water, and I'm just going to have that on high. Now when that gets to boiling, I'm going to reduce the temperature down to low, and I'm going to put it on for 16 minutes exactly. I use my microwave as a timer, and so I put it on for 16 minutes, and then as soon as it's done, it's perfect and fluffy every time. So if you don't know how to make rice, that's how you do it, and if you have a different way of doing it, you do it your way. That's how I do mine. So I have some vegetables here I'm going to show you. I'm going to be chopping these up and adding them over here into the pot on the stove into my stir fry. And like I add the things as they cook. So for me, the things that take longest I add first, and the things that I take less time I add last. So right now I have mushrooms, and I'm going to be putting these over here in the stove. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to put a little oil here in my pan, which I don't have any out. Let me grab some. I'm going to put some oil here in my pan, and I'm going to add my mushrooms, because it takes a little while for mushrooms to cook down and to caramelize. And I like mine to be nice and caramelized. So I only add about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Use whatever oil you like, whatever works for you. And then put in your mushrooms. All right, let me get these all stirred up here. And then I'll be right back over to chop things up. And I'll show you how my stir fry goes along as I add it here. I have my camera on the tripod, so it's kind of hard to move it around. And I would have you over by my microwave, but there's just not enough room for the tripod and for cooking, which is where I normally like to chop my vegetables, right there by the stove, and just add them. Okay, so the next thing I add is carrots. Because carrots, they take a while to cook, and I want them to be tender. I don't want them to be like really crunchy. I mean, you want them to have some bite still, but not, you know, like you're biting into a raw carrot. So that's kind of what I do. So I just kind of get a handful of these, and I just buy, you can buy shredded if you don't want to chop any. You can use whole carrots, and you can just peel them and chop them how you want. I use carrot chips because I use these for a bunch of different recipes, and I use them for snacking. So that works for me and my family because I can just buy this, and then it works for all of our situations. And for these, because they're just a little big, I like to just give them a really rough chop. So I just kind of come in here and chop them rough, so that way you're not getting, you know, a carrot that's this size. It makes it a little bit more manageable on the fork when you're eating it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, like I said, just something really rough to just kind of bring the size down just a little bit. And just kind of make sure you chop through some of these pieces. They kind of get everywhere here. And then I will put it here on this blue plate and bring it over to the stove to get it to start cooking. So we will add that in there, and I think that's, well, I guess that needs to be chopped a little bit more. Okay, so yeah, just a general rough chop like so. And then I just kind of scrape it here onto the plate, which normally I just scrape it right into the pan, but since I'm doing this on video, and my pan is way over there, we're going to do it this way. That way it's just a little bit easier. Oh, and it might help if I actually turn the stove on. So yeah, I keep mine on like medium-high heat at first. And my rice is starting to come to a boil here. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that down to low and medium-low. Well, more closer to low. And then I just pop the lid on. I come over here and I put on 16 minutes. Voila. Right? We'll be done. Pretty easy. Alrighty, so the next thing I'm going to be adding probably will be the zucchini. So for zucchini, I just kind of chop off the little ends here. I don't really eat those. And then I just chop off the little butt on the bottom. And then, I'll just set that to the side for right now. I usually just chop it in half like so, turn them upside down, and then I just give them a chop. Like, you can cut them as thick or as thin as you like them. I cut mine about like that. For me, that's what I like. You can cut it however you like. And for this recipe, you can add any vegetables you want, or you can take out vegetables that you maybe don't like. Like if you hate mushrooms, don't eat mushrooms, you know. That's what's so great about this, because it's flavorful and it's healthy, but it's so versatile. You can make it for however you want it and how your family wants it. You could even cut these into cubes or slices. I mean, it's really up to you what you want and what you enjoy. This is just how I do it, because I feel like it cooks. You want it to be a nice thickness, not too thin, but you don't want it to be so thick that it takes a really long time to cook either. You want there to be like a little bit of a bite, but not, you know, like this huge chunk that's just like awkward and kind of gross when you bite into it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's all that I do. And then I'll just put this on the plate, and I'll chop up the other one here. All right. Put that on there. Perfect. All right. So we'll go ahead and do the second one here. And I use 2. This usually, it makes more than enough for me and my husband to have dinner, and then we use whatever's left over for lunch the next day. If I had to say, I'd probably feed like a family of 4 with maybe some leftovers. And I guess it depends on like how much your family eats too. Like, are they voracious appetites, or are they just like, you know, they barely eat anything? It's going to determine a lot, but it makes a huge pot full, and you can always make more rice too if you feel like. What I did was 1 cup, and then I just doubled the amount of water, so I put 2 cups of water with my 1 cup of rice. And rice doubles, so that's more like 2 cups. So that's a cup for each of us, and I think that's more than enough, and if there's any leftovers, we'll probably just eat it without the rice, because I'm trying to cut back on my carbohydrates, but I refined carbohydrates, so for me, that will work. But for your family, you can do whatever you like. If you guys like more rice, make more rice. That's one thing I like about cooking. I mean, even when you find a recipe that you like, or maybe you just like some elements of it, you know, take it and make it yours. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly by the book. That's the wonderful part about cooking. And most of the time, it'll turn out fantastic no matter what you try. There's always going to be a few mistakes, and I made plenty myself. Let me tell you, one time I tried to make chicken pot pie for my husband and myself, and I looked at the recipe, I had it online, and I thought I knew how much flour I was supposed to add. And I didn't add enough. I added too much flour. So I started adding milk and adding milk and adding milk, and it just kind of kept getting gloppier and gloppier and gloppier and more of it. It tasted like glue. It tasted so bad, and God bless my husband. He didn't complain. He was like, no, honey, it's good. And I was like, no, even I know it's terrible, honey. So, yeah, sometimes it doesn't matter if you make a mistake in cooking or it doesn't turn out perfect. You know, just try again the next time. I've been cooking a long time. I've been cooking since I was probably 12 or 13, and of course I didn't start out making things like this. I was making things more like, I don't know, tortillas or burritos, you know what I mean, just smaller things. But, I mean, that's what you do. You can start out small and work your way up to something bigger. And this is pretty easy. I mean, you really can't go too wrong with it. You really can't. Because, I mean, it's pretty much just sauteing up chopped vegetables and adding a little bit of sauce over rice. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, okay. Just had to give this a nice good mix to make sure everything is getting cooked and sauteed. Alrighty, so we've got our zucchini, our carrots, and our mushrooms. The next thing I like to add is celery. And let me see here. I have the celery. Let me check to make sure. Okay, yeah. It's still good. Because, like I said, we were out of town for a week, and, you know, sometimes some vegetables last and some don't. We didn't go grocery shopping beforehand, but, yeah, no, this one's good. Alrighty, so for me, I just like to line up my celery stalks and chop off the top, and then I kind of just chop off the bottoms and set those aside. You can put them in a compost bowl or heap, or throw them out. You can feed them to pigs. Whatever works for you. Whatever fits your lifestyle. Ouch. Gotta watch out. These knives are sharp. Jeez. We just bought brand new knives because our old ones, we got them when we first got married, and we've been married for 7 years, and so we finally figured, you know, we probably should get some newer knives, and now I'm not used to these newer knives, and they're sharper, and I have to watch out for them compared to my dull ones where it didn't matter if you kind of cut on yourself. They were so dull. I'm surprised it chopped anything, to be honest. Alrighty, so we're going to finish chopping the celery here. Alright, and then we'll put that onto a plate. Alright. And we'll get the celery cooking, because celery is kind of a harder vegetable, and it's not super hard. You don't want to get too soft, but you want it to be nice and firm and tender. Okay. And then we'll give that a good stir. Because you want to make sure everything has a chance to get to the bottom and have a chance to cook up. Oh yeah, okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alrighty. Now, on to the last few little things I like to add to mine. You can leave these out if you don't enjoy them. I personally enjoy them. I like to add cilantro and green onion to mine. If you want, you can add white onion if you prefer that, or a yellow onion. And I just tear off some cilantro here because I feel like a lot of Asian cooking has cilantro in it, which is kind of interesting because my family's from Mexico. My grandfather's from Mexico, and so of course we eat a lot of, or we have a lot of cooking, involving cilantro. So I'm used to thinking of this herb as more of like a Mexican thing, but I'm very surprised. I find it in a lot of Asian cooking, and I think it's really fragrant and tastes delicious, but not everybody agrees. So like I said, add what you want, keep out what you don't. Okay, so got the cilantro, and now we're going to do the green onion. Alrighty, let's get this out. Now for me, I personally only like, oh gosh, some of these pieces are not looking good. That's the thing with green onion. Sometimes they look good and sometimes not so much. Alright, I usually just chop off like the ends here and get rid of those. And then I just do like a rough chop of whatever's left. Alright, and I just like the green. I like a very mild flavor. I think a lot of people think that there's no flavor in this, but for me, I think it is. I think it's more like a chive type flavor. It's not as strong as the white part of the green onion. But yeah, I just add like a little bit in. Not a lot, you just want a little bit to flavor it. Okay, and I keep it usually rubber banded, which just helps hold it together so I can cook it longer. Okay. And then we will just pop that right over here. Alrighty. And then I will bring that over to my Chinese food. Alrighty, guys. So, that's the end of the chopping part. I'm going to bring you guys over here to watch me cook it and add the last few finishing touches. Alright. Okay, everybody. So I'm right now just adding the chicken and the sauce. This is the sauce packet I choose to use. You can make it from scratch if you want to. All you have to do is add soy sauce, a little bit of sugar, some garlic, and some ginger. You can use pre-minced garlic and probably about 2 inches of minced up, grated, finely chopped ginger, and then add this cornstarch and water. The cornstarch is going to make your sauce a little thicker. The ginger and the garlic is going to add flavor, and the soy sauce will add the salty, umami flavor that everybody loves. And if you want to let that sauce, make it up earlier and let it sit, it'll probably have a lot more flavor. So this is my sauce here. It has soy sauce, a little sugar, the packet, and then some water. So I have that, and then I have chicken here, and we just buy a rotisserie chicken and we shred it. That's what I like to do because it's just easier than trying to cook chicken breasts and then shred them and then make this whole meal on top of cooking that. So that's kind of what we do. You can make yours vegetarian if you don't want any meat. You can use a different kind of meat. You can use whatever you want. This is just what we choose to use. So I usually just add like a handful or so. We don't eat a whole lot of chicken. So, I mean, this will, like I said, this will feed us 2 or 3 meals, and this is just to give it a little bit of protein. Yeah, that's probably good. Just a little bit. Okay. So we've got that. Our rice is nearly finished. It has another 3 minutes, and our stir fry is almost done too. You want the zucchini to start getting like a translucent look to it. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it's like really not the best. Ow! Hot. See how it's kind of turning like pale, whereas the other pieces are maybe more white? That is, I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit because it's a little too hot. That's about where you want your zucchini. You don't want it completely translucent, you don't want it completely burned, but you do want it to cook all the way through. Unless, of course, you like raw veggies, in which case you could just make this without cooking anything, I suppose. I don't think it would taste quite the same, but you are free to do whatever you want and take total creative license of your meal. Okay, I'm going to add my sauce for the last couple bits of minutes here. Okay. And then I'm just going to stir that just to make sure everything gets nice and coated. And the sauce packet has cornstarch in it, so as it gets hot, it's going to start to get thick and bubbly and kind of like caramelize itself onto all your vegetables and your meat. And that's what's going to give your stir fry a lot of flavor. Now, like I said, if you want, you can use like low sodium stir fry sauce, or I mean, you can use whatever you want and get creative. I'm sure it'll taste great, whatever you guys decide to do. And hey, if you decide to make this meal, let me know how it turns out. You know, because I like this. It's pretty healthy, and it's one of our favorites because now we don't have to spend a ton of money going out to Panda. I can just make this. So this is one of our favorite meals. So I'm just going to kind of, everything's pretty much cooked. I'm just kind of waiting for the sauce to kind of just get, you know, thicker and all that stuff. So we're kind of just tipping the pan just a little bit to make sure the sauce kind of gets everywhere. Because we cook on a very old stovetop in a place that we rent, so everything's not quite even, and we kind of have our old little pots and pans from when we first got married, so, you know, someday we'll have like that gourmet kitchen, but for now, we're cooking it, you know, ghetto style, kind of. So, alrighty. And I think that's just about going to do it. So I'm just going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to leave the pan on the burner, and that will just finish, you know, it'll kind of keep it warm because my husband's not home from work yet or anything. And my rice is just about finished, so I'm going to move that chicken out of the way. And it's got 14 seconds, so I'm just going to take that off the heat for right now and turn that off. And I kind of want to show you guys the rice here, how it turned out. So this is after 16 minutes of cooking, and this is just boiled rice. And see how it is? And like if you just leave it in here, it'll stay nice and warm, and it'll finish cooking off whatever little tiny bit of water is left. But you can kind of see that the kernels are nice and whole and white and fluffy. And you can use any kind of rice you want. If you want to use basmati, if you want to use, I think this is like a medium grain. I usually like either medium grain jasmine or I like long grain jasmine rice. Kind of what I grew up eating. So anyway, yeah, so that's my Chinese food. And if you want, you can serve it with egg rolls or pot stickers or, you know, whatever your family likes to eat. And I hope you guys enjoyed cooking with Candi. And if you guys like more cooking videos, let me know. I mean, I kind of have my go-to recipes that I kind of make every 2 weeks and cycle through them. But, you know, I'm willing to, you know, pull out some ones that I haven't touched in a while to show you. And if you do like cooking videos, what sort of things do you like? Do you like ethnic foods? Do you like things that are fast and easy because you're a busy person who works full-time or is a full-time mom and just doesn't have more than, you know, 30 minutes to make a meal? Like, what do you guys like in cooking videos? Let me know down below, and I would be happy to oblige. If you're looking for more like freezer-type meals, I can do that. If you're looking for meals that could be either or, I can do that. I've got like a ton of different kinds of meals. I've got frugal meals. I've got more expensive meals. I kind of run the gamut. I'm more of like a frugal person myself. You know, even though we make a good living, I like to live under our means so that we can save, and, you know, I don't know, I enjoy the challenge of not necessarily cooking cheaply, but seeing what I can create out of things that don't cost a lot of money. So anyway, let me know what you guys like, and I will try my best to make some more videos if that's what you want. And I hope you guys have a great day and a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Talk to you later.